Hey there guys, we're taking a look at Rainbow Six Extraction running on the AMD 5500U. Now this is currently running at 1080p with the ultra low preset, and the performance is not fantastic at all. Those 1% lows are very brutal, and the FPS average is just struggling to stay above 30. Overall, 1080p is just completely out of the question in this game, and I think that's a surprise to no one. This APU is really struggling to play any modern games. Specifically, we are just very RAM limited, but also there's just the fact that it is an APU, you know what I mean? Like, you can't expect ultra high performance on here, but it is still relatively playable for what it is. Although I would personally avoid playing at this resolution if I could, because this is just not really a great experience whatsoever. Like, if you're used to playing games on a console, maybe I could understand. Like, if all you had was an Xbox 360, maybe a base Xbox One or PS4, then you could understand what this gameplay is like. Especially if you like to play with a controller, you can get away with just doing that, you know. But for the most part, I'm just going to assume that this is just not that playable at 1080p. I mean, part of it could also just be the fact that the CPU is running at a very low clock speed. I mean, we are hitting an average of 1.4 gigahertz, which I mean should be more than enough for this game, but it could be a very limiting factor, though usually that'll just end up being a limiting factor for like the top level FPS. And I think at this point the GPU is really the biggest bottleneck, since it is kind of just stuck at 98% usage. Now, dropping things down to 720p actually lets this APU start to flex its muscle here. We are getting more of an average in the 50s and 1% lows in the 40s. This is a very smooth and very playable experience. I actually had a blast going through this. I was just playing with some randies, and we actually ended up, you know, doing multiple different rounds here, just going on to the next section, the next section, the next section, just because of the fact that we were having such a good time. I never felt held back by the machine. I mean, at 1080p, I pretty much had to extract immediately because I was not going to power through that kind of insanity. While this, I could have just kept playing pretty much all night with these people. It would have been an awesome time. It just ran perfectly. I mean, the game doesn't look amazing for sure. It's definitely visually looking like a older console game, but the performance is just good enough that I had a blast playing like this. I think for a PvE game like this, the performance is perfectly fine. If we were playing a competitive shooter, I'd say that this was still not enough to really let you fully enjoy the game. But for, again, a PvE game like this is perfectly fine performance. You're gonna have an absolutely great time playing like this. And the best part is there are no visual artifacts like there was with the 1135G7, where we literally could not play the game because it was an epileptic seizure warning the entire time just trying to play the game. I mean, the big standout winner here is really those 1% lows. 42 on 1% lows is actually kind of just insane, because that just gives you such a smooth experience. Like, it's one of those things where you need to play this to understand how smooth it is compared to games that just fluctuate all over the place and have way lower 1% lows. Overall, at 720p with the ultra low settings, this game is actually a win, and you can actually get some very decent gaming performance out of this. I was actually very happy with this. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm blown away by the performance here. This was not what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting a similar situation to the 1135G7, where it just bordered on the edge of unplayability, but no, this is very playable at 720p. Very happy about this. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed. There will be more 1135G7 content, by the way. Don't expect just because I got this that we're done with the 1135G7. There's still a lot of games that I want to try on that chip, and there will be more videos on that soon. So anyways, I will see you guys later.